Hi, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Poem Praise 2. And peace and blessings be upon you and your family this evening. Now, we are going to get right back into Black Stars, African American women writers. The next writer I have for you is Lorraine Hansberry during the time period of 1930 to 1965. So without further ado, it reads as such. Now, with the debut of A Raisin in the Sun at the Barrymore Theater in New York in March 1959, Lorraine Hansberry became the first Black woman to have a play produced on Broadway. This dramatization of a typical 1950s urban Black family in Chicago captured national attention. And Hansberry, at the age of 29, became the youngest American, the fifth woman, and the first Black playwright to win the New York Drama Critics Circle Award, for Best Play. The film version also received national acclaim. Lorraine Vivian Hansberry was born May 19th, 1930 in Chicago, Illinois, to Carl and Nancy Perry Hansberry, and was the youngest of four children. She grew up in the middle-class setting. Her father was a physician, and her uncle Leo Hansberry was a distinguished professor of history at Howard University. The political and social activities of the family exposed Lorraine Hansberry to Black luminaries such as Paul Robeson, singer, actor, and social activist, Duke Ellington, musician, and Walter White, writer and one-time leader of the NAACP. Now, here is a picture of her right there. Did you see it? Okay. Let us continue. Now, when Lorraine was a young girl of 8, her family experienced a traumatic event that proved to her that neither high economic status nor social status could protect a Black family from racism. In the late 1930s, Lorraine Hansberry's father purchased a home in an all-white section of Chicago. The playwright recalls howling mobs surrounding the family's house and throwing bricks in protest. My desperate and courageous mother patrolled our house all night with the loaded German Luger, doggedly guarding her 4 children, while my father fought the respectable part of the battle in the Washington court. The historic case, Hansberry versus Lee, was won by Carl Hansberry in 1940. A Raisin in the Sun is an honest and moving story of a typical Black family of the 1950s. It includes Lena Younger, the grandmother, her college-age daughter, Benita, a married son, Walter Lee, and his wife and son. Lena Younger had a dream of purchasing a home with her late husband's insurance money. She had long wanted her family to escape their dark and dingy tenement apartment and move to a place where there is space and light. But Walter had his own dream. Weary from working as a chauffeur, he wants to purchase a liquor store, the last type of business his religious mother would approve of. Walter's wife, Ruth, loves her husband and wants to be supportive of him. She understands his wish to be self-employed, but she also understands her mother-in-law's dream of a nice new home, since she has the very same dream. Ruth tries not to side with either her husband or her mother-in-law and instead attempts to be a referee between the two. Benita lashes out at her brother, Walter, who eventually loses the family fortune, including the portion that was to pay her medical school expenses. 2 days before the opening of A Raisin in the Sun, Lorraine Hansberry wrote her mother about it. Mama, it is a play that tells the truth about people, Negroes, and life, and I think it will help a lot of people to understand how we are just as complicated as they are, and just as mixed up. But above all, that we have among our miserable and downtrodden ranks people who are very essence of human dignity. That is what, after all the laughter and tears, the play is supposed to say. I hope it will make you very proud. Hansberry first became interested in theater while attending the University of Wisconsin. Unhappy with her school's curriculum, she left and moved to New York in 1950. There she worked as a reporter and later as an associate editor for the black newspaper Freedom, published by entertainer and social activist Paul Robeson. Association with the paper led to involvement with various groups that were working for social change in America. It was in one of these integrated groups that Hansberry met Robert Neminroth, whom she married in 1953. Though they later divorced, the couple maintained a close relationship. Like Ann Petrie, Dorothy West, and many other black women writers, Lorraine Hansberry used the education and the advantages her family background gave her to improve racial tolerance in America. With civil rights of blacks still being denied across the country, and government officials stalling efforts to turn the situation around, there was justifiable impatience among black Americans. Hansberry called for human understanding. Nowhere in Raisin in the Sun is this intent more clear than when Lena says to Benita, "Have you cried for your young brother today?" I don't mean for yourself and for the family because we lost the money. I mean for him. What he been through and what it done to him. When you starts measuring somebody, measure him right. Let me repeat that one. When you start measuring somebody, measure him right, child. Measure him right. Make sure you done take into account what hills and valleys he come through before he got to wherever he is. Tragically, the most promising voice was here only for a short while. Lorraine Hansberry, who captured African American life in a manner that moved not only black people, but all peoples struggling for a decent quality of life for themselves, died of cancer in 1965 at the age of 35. Her death came while her second play, The Sign in Sidney's Brewstein's Window, was still running on Broadway. Lorraine Hansberry once worked for actor, singer, and social activist Paul Robeson And this is Paul Robertson's picture right here. See Mr. Robertson? Okay. And that does complete Lorraine Hansberry. So I want you to be well. Take care and be blessed. And be it thy will, I'll talk with thee soon here on Poem Praise 2. So until next time, later y'all.